Kingdom Kids!
You survived your very first week of virtual school!
Yay!
Today I have 3 things to help us with our lesson. You see if you can guess what they all have in common. The first item is this lamp. Miss Caitlin, see if you can turn it on.
It won't turn on.
Oh, plug it in.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes, it needs to be connected to electricity.
Well, that's great and all, but we are outside and it is still light. So why do we need this lamp, Miss Jill?
You'll see soon. The second item is this dead branch that fell off a tree and now has turned brown and is dead. If it had stayed connected to the tree, it will continue to grow because it could get water and nutrients it needed.
That's really sad, but I don't understand what the lamp and this dead branch have in common. But while we're thinking about it, can I have some of those grapes you're holding?
Not yet, Miss Susan, because this is my last item. These grapes were recently connected to a branch of a vine. They were cut off so that we could enjoy them. Now you can have a grape.
Yay!
Have you figured out what they have in common yet?
Well, as I was listening to the 3 items, it seems like you used the word connect 3 times. Is connect the connection?
Yes, good job. Today we're going to talk about things that must be connected to survive and thrive. Let's start with talking about the grapevine. A vine is what supports the branches. The vine has roots that are in the ground, which provides important things like nutrients and oxygen to the branches. This is what gives the branches life and helps them produce fruit. The vine nourishes and feeds the branches and gives them strength.
The Bible tells us that Jesus is our vine and we are the branches. I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. That comes from John 15:5.
As Christians, God is our vine that feeds us. He wants us to produce fruit in our lives and do things that are pleasing to Him.
The vine dresser is a person that prunes or cuts off the dead branches and the thick branches, which have a lot of fruit, in order to make the vines healthier. When the vineyard is healthy, there is a lot of growth, which means there is a lot of fruit. Speaking of vine dresser, we would like to introduce you to Mrs. Gypsy Flo. Hi, Gypsy.
Hi, good morning.
Mrs. Flo is going to tell us about this magnificent vineyard in her backyard. There are lots of different kinds of grapes, but she's going to tell you a little bit about hers. Mrs. Flo, tell us a little bit about the vine behind you.
Well, this is a scuppernong vine, and these were planted about 40 years ago, and the vine came from my husband's dad's yard in Mint Hill. When they are trimmed, after all the leaves are fallen, and they are trimmed in January or February of each year. So that is when the sap is down low and hasn't come back up yet. And we have been happy to have been able over the years to, when we trim the vines, we give them to the church and they make wreaths out of them for the bazaar. So it's wonderful how God is able to continue on with His work in many different ways.
So what kind of grapes do you produce here?
These are scuppernongs, and they are a sweet grape, and they will get ripe in September. This is what they look like today.
I'll take them up to let them see them better.
And they will turn kind of brownish, and when they're brown, they will be really sweet and really good.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Flo. We sure appreciate you letting us look at your vineyard today.
You're
it's
welcome.
Wonderful.
So, God is our vine. He gives us life and strength. Without Him, we can do nothing. We need to stay connected to Him.
Hey, Miss Jill, let's go inside the vine. Oh, tuck under, watch your head.
Look at this vine. Do you know what a vine is? A vine is a plant that grows really long. There are branches that grow off the vine that produce fruit. The grapevine is the most common kind of vine. It is a climber, meaning it will climb on a structure like a fence or tree when it grows. That's why people that own grapevines make structures with wire for the vines to grow in the field.
Do you know what would happen if a branch broke off from the grapevine? it would stop growing and dry up. Would it still produce grapes? No. The branches will only grow and produce fruit when attached to the vine. If the branches are not attached, there will not be able to get water and food that it needs to survive.
Here is an example of a healthy scuppernong grape because it is still attached to the vine. Come take a closer look. It is still getting its nutrients from the vine, which is enabling it to grow.
You see this brown grape? This is a muscadine grape, which is different from a scuppernong, but they look similar. But the brown color tells us that it's almost time to pick.
In the book of John, Jesus tells us a parable. Remember that a parable is a story about everyday things that teach an important lesson. In this story, he used grapes to teach a lesson. He talks about how grapes grow, and he compared it to how we should grow. In the story, Jesus is like the vine that gives the branches their growth. If we are connected to the vine, which is Jesus, we will produce fruit too.
Is this the kind of fruit Jesus is talking about?
No.
Is this the kind of fruit Jesus was talking about?
No way!
I mean, surely this is not what Jesus had in mind. I mean, Miss Jill, you're a strawberry.
Have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? You're a pear.
Definitely not. Of course we won't actually grow fruit like a grape or an apple, but we will grow spiritual fruit. Remember what spiritual fruit is? They are the fruits of the Spirit, and they are love, joy, patience, kindness, peace, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If we disconnect from Jesus, we won't be able to produce fruit. We will become like a dead branch. So we need to stay connected to Jesus to produce fruit that will honor God.
Recognize we've got Miss Susan and Miss Jill are going to help us learn the song today, and it's called I Am the Vine. Now, this song is also on another YouTube channel called Slugs and Bugs Volume 3, and if you'll go to that site and look up I Am the Vine, you can see the way they dance. But we can't put our arms around each other for the verses because we're socially distancing, so we've got our friends the monkeys, okay? But first, we're going to do the chorus. So put them down, get your vine hands ready. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. That's all you got to do for the chorus. Let's sing it for them, okay, ladies? I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the vine. And then we're going to pick our monkeys up, and the verse goes like this. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine. And then we're going to sing the chorus again, and then we'll sing the last verse, and it goes like this. He who abides in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. Abide in the vine. Okay, you ready? All right, put our monkeys down. Let's do our abide in the vine. We're going to do the chorus twice, the verse once. Then we're going to get in a conga line, kind of a conga line for the chorus, and then back for the last verse. All right, ready, ladies? Deep breath. I am the vine. You are the branches. I am the vine. You are the branches. I am the vine. You are the branches, I am the vine. One more time. I am the vine. You are the branches, I am the vine. You are the branches, I am the vine. You are the branches, I am the vine. Okay, let's get our monkeys. He who abides in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, unless it abides in the vine. One more time. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, unless it abides in the vine. I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the vine, you are the branches. I am the vine. One more time, I love this formation. I am the vine, You are the branches, I am the vine. You are the branches, I am the vine. You are the branches, I am the vine. Now the last verse, so we have to pick our monkeys up. Whoop! I dropped my monkey, Miss Susan. Here we go. He who abides in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. Abide in the vine. He who abides in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. Abide in the vine. Let's do the chorus one more time. I am the vine. You are the branches. I am the vine. You are the branches. I am the vine. You are the branches. I am the vine. Kingdom kids, remember, we're the branches. Jesus is the vine. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Here's my grape. I got a little hungry. Just like the branches on the grapevine will not produce grapes if not connected, we won't produce fruit either if we're not connected to our vine, God. We need to love Him and give our hearts to Him and ask for forgiveness of our sins. We can do things to help us stay connected. We can pray, not just at mealtime or bedtime, but all the time. When we're nervous, thankful, scared, or happy, we can always talk to God. We can read the Bible stories, listen to worship services, and watch the Kingdom Kid videos to help us learn more about God. We can worship Him by going to worship service or listening to the service online. We can sing songs like Miss Melinda teaches us. You can worship where you are, in the car, house, church, or even at school.
Let's talk about how we care for these branches. In John 15:2, it says, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He, God, takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, He prunes or cuts back, that it may bear more fruit." Remember when we told you Mrs. Flo was a vine dresser, the person that prunes, trains, and cultivates the vine? When you cut back the healthy branch, it grows bigger and stronger, and it will produce more fruit. If branches are diseased, they will have to be cut out so that the branch can grow stronger and healthier.
In John 15:4, Jesus tells us about the vine dresser. The vine dresser represents God. God is our gardener, and He loves us very much. He wants us to produce much fruit, not just a little or some. He does careful pruning in our lives to take away things that keep us weak as Christians. Sometimes He has to cut out the good things too, because this helps us grow stronger. He prunes or cuts back whatever it is that makes us better.
Just like a branch that has been separated from the vine is going to starve and die and produce no fruit, we cannot produce fruit either if we're not connected to God. The branches are weak, they're useless, and they will break by themselves. And we are weak and useless if we try to do things alone without God's help. So when we try to go through our life without God, we're going to fail often. But we can tackle any problem or any situation when we stay connected to God. One of my favorite verses is Philippians 4:13, and it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." So make sure you stay connected to the true vine and say, "Thank you, Jesus."
We do not produce fruit to please ourselves, but to serve others. We should be the type of people that feed others by our words and our works. This is also how people can see God in our lives. When people see the love, joy, peace, and all the other fruits of the spirits coming from our lives, they can see what God can produce in their lives. It makes them want to have the kind of life too. Are your words encouraging to others? Do others want the kind of life you have? What kind of branch are you?
Hi guys! Today's story is about Solomon. A long time ago, Solomon was the king of Israel. He loved God with all of his heart, and he served Him and obeyed Him. God had blessed Solomon by giving him wisdom and making him very, very rich. If Solomon were living in our day, he probably would own a t-shirt that says, "Life is good." For him, it was. As he walked with God, he obeyed His commandments, Solomon had so many blessings. He had more than anyone could ask for. Then one day, when Solomon was older, he disobeyed God. He married women from other nations that worshiped other gods, kind of like this. After a while, the women he married turned Solomon's heart to the other gods, and he started worshiping these gods too. He had given his heart to the women he married and to worshiping the other gods, and he didn't have much left in his heart for God. God became angry with Solomon because he had turned away. God had said, "Solomon, you're not supposed to worship any other gods." But Solomon did. So God said, "You have chosen not to obey my rules, so I will tear the kingdom away from you and your family." Solomon and his family would no longer be kings over all of the land of Israel. Now, when Jesus was on earth, he told us to love God more than any other living thing in the world. Jesus told us that God is the most important thing in our lives, and God is. When we make God number one, God is very happy. God deserves and wants our whole heart, not just some of it. He loves us, cares for us, and created the whole world. We should love him all the time and give all of our heart to him. If we turn away from God and are not connected to him, we are weak. We need to stay connected to God because it gives us strength, and God gives us strength.
It's time for Did You Know? Did you know each grapevine needs 6 feet of space to grow? There is a grape that tastes like cotton candy, and the oldest living grapevine is 500 years old, and it still produces grapes. Raisins are the dried fruit of the grapevine, and the leaves of the grapevine are edible. Eating grapes may also improve your memory. I think I need some of those.
Have you ever tried to do something without the help of God? If so, how did that work out for you? Probably not too good, because the Bible is very clear that we can do nothing without the help of God. God is our vine, and we are his branches. God is a loving gardener, and he helps us grow and produce spiritual fruit, but only if we stay connected. We can do nothing without God, and we can do everything with the help of God. So trust God and stay connected through prayer, learning more about him, and service to others so that you will produce good fruit. I am the vine. You are the branches. Go produce good fruit, boys and girls, and we'll see you next week. Bye.